Elio guys, and welcome back to another episode of Infinite Magicraid. In today's video though, we have our baby girl Aisha, who is unfortunately a legendary I don't have yet, so you guys need to send her over. Give me at least one copy because she is an attacker and she's also the red mark, so once again useful in the Tower of Mark. But overall, I think her kit in general is very peculiar. It's very interesting, and we can go into detail about that right now here. So once again, I did say that she's a legendary, which explains her wild and wacky stat distribution here. But starting off with her basic attack, Doll's Radiation. This move right here deals 110% attack damage to all enemies. When this is fully booked up, it goes up to 150%. Now I know you're saying, Elio, that doesn't really sound like much, but this is an AoE basic attack. You can't make it have this cuckoo damage modifier on it as a basic AoE attack, because literally the game would be called Infinite Aisha and not Infinite Holder Raid, which, you know, newsflash to you, Holder isn't that amazing. Just saying. He's amazing, but he's not that amazing here. But yeah, this is a basic AoE, which there are other units in the game that have basic AoE attack moves. It's just that they're a lot lower rate, number one, in terms of damage, and they always come with like a secondary effect on it. But this one is just raw damage here. Moving on to her second skill though, which is called Greediness. This has a 4-turn cooldown, and it deals in between 450% to 650% attack damage to a single enemy. The lower the current HP percentage the target has, the higher the damage dealt. And with this fully booked up too, it looks like it increases both min and max damage, just making it more potent in general, and it tops off at a whopping 800%. Holy crap. And with it fully booked up too, it gets reduced down to 3 turns versus 4 turns. So essentially what this move is saying here, the less HP that you have, the more damage this move is going to do. So she is going to just try and kill you. So if your HP is low and this baby girl can pop this move off, she's going to do her best to try and kill you with her secondary skill. So if you're fighting Aishas out there, make sure the party's healed up so you don't sustain just a whopping amount of nasty damage here. Moving on next though, there's her passive skill called Reincarnation with a nasty 6-turn cooldown. But what happens here is Aisha gains damage immunity, and her AP cannot be reduced for 1 turn when she is still alive with less than 50% HP on her. So, not only does she get damage immunity with this passive, but if she's already kind of on the lower end of survivability here, you cannot rob her of her AP, guaranteeing that she can get a turn off, which could possibly kill you as well. Now, I will say that in a situation where her HP doesn't really get lowered here, the main selling point here is damage immunity, but outside of that, I mean, I think it's an okay passive. It does have a distinct cooldown time, which makes sense here because damage immunity, as it implies, she can't take damage at all, which is just, once again, wild and wacky. But with a 6-turn cooldown on that skill, it makes sense. Obviously with books, it does get reduced to 4 turns, but that also means that you kind of have to time things correctly here in terms of if you're going to nuke her or not, because it may just need to be delayed 1 turn so you don't waste your damage on a character that literally cannot take damage for maybe that turn or attack in particular here, which especially for newer players I do find is a bit annoying in PvP when you're like, okay, I can kill her, and you're like, okay, never mind, I can't, she's just gonna kill us. And then ending things here with her ultimate skill called Beam of Flame, which has a 5-turn cooldown. This move right here deals 260% up to 390% attack damage to all enemies. Once again, another AoE move, but unlike her secondary skill, her ultimate, the higher the enemy's HP percentage, the higher the damage dealt. And with this move fully booked up, on the higher end though, she gets a 90% additional max attack damage added to her skills. So she's looking at, what is that, 480% attack damage to all enemies. And it also gets reduced to 4 turns after you book her up completely. So yeah, once again, that's amazing. Her main kit right here is just really AoE damage. There's nothing outside of that. There's no secondary effects. AoE damage, if she takes damage, she can kind of save herself for 1 turn, or at least the duration of whatever attack here, and possibly keep going to take things out here. But Aisha is pretty simple, at least on paper, where it's basically kill or be killed by her. Taking a look at her exclusive weapons though, when reincarnation is triggered, she also cleanses all of her self debuffs. Wow. So not only does she has damage immunity with that skill, not only can her AP not be reduced below the 50% HP threshold, but if you have any debuffs on this baby girl, she's like, not anymore, fam. No sir. No sir, not anymore. At level 2 though, Doll's Radiation and Beam of Flame deals 30% more damage for every one enemy missing from their formation. Wow. So as the battle goes on and more units die, she just gets more and more nasty. That is, if you can pull multiple copies of her. Good luck. Then at level 3, it increases Aisha's attack by 20% and she gains a shield by 20% of her maximum HP for 2 turns when killing an enemy. I don't understand here. I absolutely don't understand here. So I would say that overall Aisha is just super duper great. Let's go over here to the preview though and kind of see her in action. Obviously, I'm not going to outright and say here that she is the best unit in the game. Her kit's very interesting. I do feel like maybe it has its purpose a little bit more in PvP than PvE because of the whole damage immunity thing. Like I understand that that is kind of like a kind of built-in way for her to survive, at least for another turn here. But with just an overall good AoE on her, it's kind of understandable that she comes out first, especially in a PvP situation, and kind of just does this, where she hits everyone. You can focus on a single target if the AI decides to do that, and then she just starts AoE. Just, if you're not dead yet, you're going to be dead. We're going to go ahead and pop this freaking ult. And we're going to pop the single target damage too if you're not dead yet and take you out here. So while she doesn't have any secondary effects as stated before, she does come in with some interesting raw damage, which depending on the situation could be very good for you or could be very bad, because starting off with that AoE when people's HP are at their maximum makes that attack do even more damage, and then as your HP kind of lowers, obviously with her secondary skill, she's going to punish you for that lowered HP here. But I don't think she's necessarily a big carry in campaign, though I could be wrong. But having her already is just going to be a super helpful unit for you just in general. Now, if you do get her exclusive weapon up to +3, well, we're not going to talk about that. But anyways, that's Aisha in a nutshell, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.